Hi, this is Jacob Wolf, and you are watching the SmashBros AMA presented by The Daily Dot. I am your new permanent host. Unfortunately, Ian will no longer be hosting the show. And tonight, per usual, we put the Reddit thread up with all of your questions regarding Dabuz, who is our guest this weekend. Samuel Dabuz Busby. He is the best Rosalina and Luma player in Super Smash Bros. 4. He took second at Genesis, and top 8 at other major tournaments such as CEO and Evo. Sam, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got home from school, just starting my spring break right now, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, are you ready to go for the best that Reddit has given you in terms of questions?
Yep, I was browsing through it a little bit, but I didn't see too many of them, so I'm ready for this. It'll be cool. See what surprises I can get.
Heck yeah, let's get into it. So the first question is, what do you think about Olimar in today's meta?
I get this question a lot, even on my stream. I don't think he was really good when Smash 4 came out because, like, he was not a counterpick to Diddy Kong, but he was a strong pick against, the best character in the game, probably. And then, as Diddy Kong got nerfed, the characters that beat him pretty hard, like Sheik and Fox, just came into the meta more, and he became worse and worse in terms of matchups. And then just as the game's evolved, he hasn't really been able to keep up. Like, his weaknesses are really exploitable, his strengths are kind of, you can play around them. And, I can't really find a reason to use Olimar anymore, sadly, as much as everyone wants me to.
What do you think for players such as Angbad and Rich and SoCal? What do you think that would need to change for Olimar for them to progress up those kind of rankings?
I mean, like, they'd have to pretty much perfect the neutral because, like, Olimar's disadvantage, say, like, he's in the air off stage, is atrocious. Like, you can't get out of those bad positions at all. And
right.
This is, in Brawl is the same thing, where, like, he got better as people learn how to get, like, keep that neutral, keep that advantageous state more consistently.
Well, the thing is with Smash 4 now is apparently we're not getting any more patches since the DLC came out, Bayonetta and Corrin. Do you think that there would be some kind of world where the meta could evolve / change how people play this game, such as in Melee, and, see Olimar maybe rise naturally?
I mean, you can't really predict the meta. Like, if someone told me, half a year ago that, like Mario... Like, if you just told me half a year ago, like, Yoshi would not be the great of a character, like, all thought game came out, Yoshi's top 5 easily. Now it's like, oh, Yoshi is top 15 maybe. You can't predict the meta. I personally don't see it with Olimar, him getting better. He's only dropped over time. But then again, I'm pretty pessimistic about Olimar because I dropped him for, like, a reason. I do think that the meta is at a point where we're kind of, like, stabilizing. Like, we're seeing the characters who are good now. And we're seeing the characters who are not good. And there's not going to be too much change in that, I don't believe.
You always see people, like, putting up matchup charts and tier list character-wise. Like, where would you put Olimar on your tier list?
Either, like, the top of mid-tier or, like, low-high tier. Because he does fine against, like, mid-tier characters, low-tier characters. He can handle pretty much most of the cast. It's just, the top 14, 15 characters are like, what am I going to do? I'm just outclassed.
Yeah. What do you think the advantages of, like, playing Rosalina and Luma are? Like, what are the clear-cut ones? There's probably several because she's a better character. But what do you think the clear-cut advantages of Rosalina and Luma over Olimar for you are?
I think she, like, because of, Luma being a factor, it confuses people. Like, people still ask me nowadays, like, things like Ripley's up smash or, like, all the Luma shenanigans I do. And they're just like, what do you do that? How do you do that? Oh my god, it's insane. I'm just like, yeah, this is normal. But, like... There's so much stuff involved with playing her that you have to know to play against her, otherwise you get caught off guard. And then, because Luma can, like, combo break, like, I get hit, and then Luma's like, up air, you're dead at 0.
Yeah.
It's... I'm sorry, I had
to... Good moments. I remember watching that happen.
Because of nonsense like that, like, she can make mistakes in ways other characters can't, which is very interesting.
If I remember a quote correctly from the last time we talked to you, you said that, playing Rosalina and Luma is like playing 1.5 characters. 6 months later, is that quote still true for you?
Definitely. Because I can control the stage, but I don't have a grab with Luma. I don't have a lot of options a character has, but I manipulate Luma like it's a half a character in a lot of ways. For pressure, for mix-ups, follow-ups, do it for everything, but I can't rely on it.
Fair enough. So the second question is your thought of as one of the top 3 to 5 Smash 4 players in the world. But this wasn't the case in Brawl, despite Zero and Nairo being thought of as top 3 players both there and in Smash 4. What would you say changed going into the new game, and or you that allowed you to level up?
Honestly, I think it was just the level of play I could get. So when Brawl was out, I was in high school. I didn't drive. My parents didn't want me traveling many places. I couldn't afford to, fly out to places and play offline a lot. So a lot of times I was just stuck in New York, New Jersey, and Tri-State, getting rides when I could to tournaments such as Apex. Otherwise, I wasn't getting that pro level worldwide experience. I live kind of in a dead zone. And then also with Smash 4, I just enjoy the game more. I loved Brawl, but yeah, I could get tired of playing Brawl. With Smash 4, I don't really see that happening. And I also honestly think that Smash 4 is a more balanced game than Brawl. Whereas in Brawl, it's kind of I played Olimar. Good character, but lost to Meta Knight pretty bad, which was everywhere. Lost to Icy's pretty bad, which was everywhere. And, I still did very well with the character, but all those things kind of limited me. Whereas now, I can just travel anywhere across the country, get practice play, a log offline. And, yeah.
For you, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember you being around right when Brawl started in terms of bigger tourneys. Do you think being there from the start of the inception of this game really helped you develop?
Definitely. I actually will always say this for Brawl that I started playing at offline tournaments consistently about 2 years in, because it came out I was 14. I think I went to my first tournament ever. My second. Well, maybe it was my third. Something along the lines of early tournaments. And I was at a tournament. It was about 10 p.m. I was probably in top 5 winners. I had to leave the tournament because my mom picked me up because she thought it was too late. 10 o'clock is way too late.
The troubling issue of esports and parents.
Yeah.
I've been through it myself, so I understand. So just funny question. If Zero was to play Meta Knight in Smash 4 and you were to play Olimar, who would win?
Definitely him. Meta Knight. Oh, God, that matchup. But there's Meta Knight has to do one thing. He grabs Olimar, he throws him up, smashes down, all the Pikmin just explode. I don't know why. I don't know what the great idea to just say, you know what, let's give Meta Knight an anti-Pikmin throw. But they did it. So combined with everything else Meta has, dash attack up air killing you at negative 20%. And then Olimar not having nearly as much stuff, it's sheesh. I thought this matchup was bad in Brawl, but at least it was winnable.
Do you think that Brawl could see a resurgence? I know at Super Smash Con last year they had the Brawl tournament where everybody was a little bit nostalgic. You saw a lot of the top tiers and top tier players in Smash 4 go back and relearn the game for a couple weeks just to play at that tournament. Do you think that we could ever really see Brawl get a little bit of spotlight again, or you think it's just done?
I can see more nostalgic things like Smash Con, just, people enter Brawl, play for fun, not too seriously, but as a serious tournament game, Brawl was not even just slow paced, but because Meta Knight Ice Climbers kind of invalidates so much of the cast near the end of Brawl's lifespan, the last, year or so, it'd be hard to see a major resurgence of the game with big pop bonuses and stuff, because it's not a spectator friendly game. Even I didn't like watching Brawl, and I loved playing it. Whereas, Smash 4, even Melee, I love watching and playing. So there's a huge difference there.
Do you think that's a graphical thing? Because Brawl is pretty harsh on the eyes, honestly. Whereas Melee is a little bit more. Melee and 64 seem a little bit more not dumbed down, but the graphics are more basic. Whereas Brawl tried to be really complex, and I don't think Nintendo really perfected that till Smash 4 on how to do complex 3D rendering. Do you think that's part of it?
Not at all, honestly. I just can't see. People still play things like Street Fighter Third Strike or 2 nowadays. I've seen people play Soul Calibur or 2 in tournaments. As long as the game is good, I don't think the serious competitive people are going to mind playing it and watching it. And that shouldn't really affect anything unless the game looks absolutely atrocious. But Brawl did not look atrocious. Nowadays it doesn't compare to Smash 4, of course, but back then it was a pretty decent looking game. It still is.
Nice. Okay, so Wario's Mustache, a regular contributor to our show, asked the number of Rosalina players have dropped significantly since the game's release, even though her placement on tier lists has remained consistent. Why do you think so few people are willing to play this character as her meta advances than when the game came out?
I was gonna say I love that name, Wario's mustache. I can just imagine someone who's just like sitting down, like stroking a mustache right now, watching this. Anyway,
He's very active. I've noticed him in our questions many a time. So thank you for contributing, sir.
anyway, I mean, so Rosalina, is a complicated character. I remember when the game first came out. You know what I did? I went on for Glory for my first thing ever and played Rosalina in like 5 games. I was like, this character's fun. And then I went in the training mode for like 2-3 hours and literally just went around seeing how Luma interacts with Rosa. I was like, I do this. Where does Luma go? Oh, Luma goes here, now here. Oh, Luma died under this stage. I can't do that. Oh, I can do this. And like, that was just day 1 of like labbing things out. And nowadays I'm still like finding new things with Luma. Like, oh, Luma goes an inch higher when I do this certain input or do it this way or have this timing. And so all these very small factors with controlling Luma make it harder to play her, and that's why I think you see less people playing her, because you have to really lab out this character just to keep up with the meta. And then her strengths are weird because this meta is normally like based on characters that have either kill confirms or like have a lot of fast pressure or get out of bad situations pretty easily. Like, Zero Suit has a flip kick and Cheek has that stuff. They have grab kill confirms, Fox, Mario, etc., all fast characters. Rosalina is kind of anti-meta because she doesn't really have any of that stuff. She just has a really good walling game and juggling game. And like Luma shenanigans, which is very different from what you see. It's hard to take stuff from other characters at top tier and like use it with her as a result.
What is it for you that makes her such a shiny character in terms of control? Because Olimar is also another character that takes a lot of control with the Pikmin. Like what makes you favor that playstyle?
I just love playing, like, I love puppet characters, love multiple characters. In fact, so my favorite game ever actually growing up, like, middle school, like, when I was, like, 10, 11, 12, was the first Pikmin game. Because I got the game and I was like, oh, I can control an entire army of minions and do things with them. And, like, I just love that. I like playing StarCraft 2 because I can control an army of robots and aliens and things and destroy people with them. And so that just attracts me to playing these kind of characters. Hell, in Street Fighter V, I play Mika, because I just summon her assistant Nautica, whatever her name is. So I just love that stuff. That's what attracts me to characters the most.
If there was another Pikmin character from the series in Smash, which would you choose if you had the choice? Besides switching skins on Olimar, which obviously makes him look different.
You know what would be interesting, actually? In Pikmin 2, you go underground, and underground you see like, these things called Bulborbs. So like,
yep.
They have spots in their backs, have big teeth, whatever. But there's one type of Bulborb that controls other Bulborbs following it, and they just walk around. Like, you can't throw them, just they chase you. It'd be interesting to have that as a character. Like, instead of throwing the Bulborbs, you use them to like control the map, and they run around doing different things, and you're just a giant Bulborb doing different stuff. Like, imagine that. That would actually be insane. I don't know how they make it work, but I could see some crazy stuff out of that. So, a Bulborb character, that's my answer.
You hear that, Nintendo? Next game on the Nintendo NX, please put a Bulborb in the game. The next question is from Ariosark, and it is, do you think at this stage of Smash 4's growth that there are definite top 10 players? We'll just start with that part of it.
Top 10. Let me think about that for a second. So, obviously, you have Zero, Nairo, myself, Renai, I put Larry up there, I put Mr. R up there. I would put Komor Kiri up there. I would put Fall Player, but he's not active, he does really well. I think after those, like, top 8, I have a lot of difficulty being like, this player is definitely, like, within that realm. So to me, those players are the standout players, I'd say. Oh, I'd put Void up there as well, can't forget about him. And then after those players, it's pretty hard to know. Like, I'd almost put Abadango up there, but then he could be sometimes inconsistent. Marius just started coming out and doing well tournaments, so we don't know if he's up there yet. And yeah, we're close to it, but not quite out there yet.
Are you on the anti-hype train like everyone else?
So I know Anti is a really good player. In fact, when I was playing Brawl, my best source of practice by far was playing with Anti and Wi-Fi like almost every day for years, very much. Like I know he's amazing. in Smash 4, I practice with him a lot still. It's my best practice online, probably. And, it gives me trouble with some friendlies. But at the same time, at tournaments, Anti doesn't perform as well as, like everyone expects him to. Like, he still got top 8 at shots fired, but, like, everyone was expecting him to get, like, top 5 or top 3. Zero was like, oh, yeah, Anti is top 5 for sure. And, I feel like he is at a skill level, but he just doesn't show it at tournaments.
What do you think?
Not yet.
What do you think, say this year is the year that Smash 4, like, shakes out. What do you think needs to happen to really cement, like, the top 10/top 8 players in the entire game?
That it's actually hard to say because, like, when you have Zero in bracket and, like, you have a good player, they run into Zero in bracket, and then maybe, like, someone like Nairo loses early in bracket and they run into him and they get, like, 17th. It's hard to say that player did bad, but it's hard to, like, get the full extent of their play. I almost feel like the best way to, like, really see who's the best is to have, like, and of course it's just, like, a theory, is, like, you have, say, a circuit, and whoever wins the previous circuit, like there's 16 tournaments in the circuit. Whoever wins the previous one, they can't enter the next one. And then the next tournament, same thing. Winner of that can't enter the next one. You have 16 tournaments like that, and that's your top 16. And I think that actually be a very good way to, like, see who's the best, because you kind of be eliminating one by one the next best player in theory.
So in that sense, were you for or against the floating that was going to happen in Genesis 3 before that was called off? Even though you were in the list. You were against? Why?
Absolutely against it, because, I mean, like I said, after, like, top 9, it's hard to even say, like, who, is up there. And then, there are some upsets, but I personally, as a player, I like the practice I get from going to pools. Like, if I know, I don't have to play pool day 1, that means to me, I don't get to play, like, serious tournament matches and warm up day 1. And I don't like that. I just like playing this game, practicing, seeing people, and it's fun for me. So I would not do that.
I think there's something to be said about how young this game is and how new talent could come out of nowhere from random regions that nobody knows about, but they show up at an international tournament.
Yeah, you can be seeing that for a long time, I think, because, like I said, I took a while to come to tournaments and go out and do my thing at Brawl because I was young. I'm not the only person, and I'm sure in this game there's a lot of people that can't go out to tournaments quite yet, or they're still learning and, like, figuring out how to play Smash. It takes a while for people who just start playing Smash Brothers to catch up to people, who have 6 years of experience. It's honestly kind of unfair.
Yeah.
But as a result, if people are going to catch up, they're going to show up and, like, just kick butt. And we're going to see that for a long time in this game, I think.
Good point. Yeah, I agree. So the next question is from Sophisticated Sloth. And this is probably, a lot of people see you talking about it on Twitter. They see you talking about it on stream. Everyone always wants to know, have you been at talks with any orgs?
I've tried to be. I'll say that. I mean, like, I get this question so often, about, like, sponsors and whatnot. And, it's difficult. Like, I know a sponsor wants someone to be, like, marketable. It also has to be a worthwhile investment to them. But sponsors are also, at least in my experience, from what I've, like, tried to do, I feel like they're very just hard to get in touch with, hard to, like, see what they want exactly. Like, I've tried to get in touch with Cloud9 a few times, and I don't think I've really got, like, to talk to them directly. I remember a few months back, I got in touch with EG, and then they're like, sorry, but we don't want you right now. I was just like, shit. And then, like, then I've got, like, talks with smaller sponsors, but, I don't want to go for a smaller sponsor. Like, I can go for, like, a good amount of sponsors, but then it'll almost be like, people say, oh, Dabuz, you could have got this sponsor, this one, you could have gone better. And I don't have to explain to people, if I go for a small sponsor, why I went for that one instead of something bigger, something that people are expecting. And so it's hard. It really is, at least for me.
I remember we had Gimmer on the show, and if I remember the phrasing right, it was backyard sponsors, like talking about like backyard baseball, like similar to the sponsors that are smaller.
I heard chicken nugget sponsors. That was my favorite.
Sponsor.
I think the cat said that one. I died.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You were on one of those chicken nugget sponsors. Actually, last time we had you on the show, you were on a very small sponsor that didn't have much of a weight in any other game, quite like a Cloud9 or an EG. Vanquish, what happened there?
They just didn't follow through with what they promised.
So that was initiated by you, just peace out?
I was just like, oh, following through with what you promised. And I kind of wanted to get out of there just because, I was getting, like, a lot of the flack of, like, oh, I should have went for something bigger. It was a mistake. And I was like, you guys might be right. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, they're not doing what they're supposed to. It's not really working well. I'm kind of, like, getting some, like, shit for it, I guess. Sorry if I'm not esports, but...
Nah, it's fine, dude. You can do whatever you want.
And, yeah, so I just left that, and I learned a lot from that, though. I was happy at least I've taken that and be like, oh, okay, these are the mistakes. This is what I should not have done. And, keep that as growing experience.
It's good. So what are you looking for in the next sponsor? I think this may be one of the questions later, but what are you looking for in a sponsor for you?
I mean, it's going to be... I call it the triple S. It's like salary, stream, and... what was the third S? Traveling? Oh, it was something with traveling. I remember it was like a different word for it I used. But yeah, like mainly just those three things. Like, because for me, getting a big sponsor is a lot about the pride. Like, I love being able to say, oh yeah, I'm on this big team like Cloud9, EG. Like, to me, it's just pride is so important. And if I can just get like that and then have like, a sponsor covering my ability to enter tournaments and basically pay for college and maybe a little extra on the side, I'll be happy. Like help me grow my stream a little bit. I'm trying to do that on my own, but it's hard. But, I don't want anything crazy. I'm not like, oh, I want a sponsor that gives me $5,000 and massages and a puppy. Like, no, I'm not going to ask for crazy stuff.
With some of the stuff
that'd be pretty cool.
With some of the stuff that happens in League of Legends and Counter-Strike, you would be surprised. You could probably get a massage and a puppy and a sponsorship deal.
Well, this ain't League, sadly. But I don't know, like, I don't know, the other big sponsors, like, for Smash Brothers, like what they get exactly. I've asked, but not too much because I don't want to pry into that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I'm not gonna go crazy with what I want. I just want decent deal and a really cool name to be behind.
From my knowledge, your three S's are pretty on point. Traveling, salary, and stream. So, yeah.
Just trying to think what I meant to use instead of traveling for the third S.
Anything?
Shoot, I'm almost like about to look it up on like dictionary.com, like a synonym for traveling, but nah.
All right, so Mr. Peekapal, also another regular contributor to the show, asks the hard-hitting question: what is your Luma color tier list?
Ooh. Okay, first one is definitely the Polari Luma, which is like the black Luma, because it goes so well with the fact that I use the black Canola Rosa. After that, I'd have to say, I have to go with the cream Luma. That one's the, like, white Luma, like the tannish one. And then after that, I'd have to say yellow, because that's a classic. Green, because you can use green on Duck Hunt to, like, hide with the grass. So it actually has a little tactical advantage. Like, if I go Duck Hunt, I get a green Luma. It's like, oh, I now have a secret stealth agent just wandering around if you don't have really good eyesight. Have fun.
There was a thing that was in the Reddit thread, and I think your answer to that question met it very well. It's also in the Twitch chat. Black Lumas matter. Thank you, chat, for making this show some fun. The next question is Talking French Rye, and he wants to say some top players just attract more hate than others. Sadly, you tend to be one of those players. How do you deal with the haters?
So I grew up in every single game I played. People did not like fighting me. I played Street Fighter with my friends, like when I was like super little. They hated playing me because I would just run to the corner and run away. Melee, I played Samus. I shot missiles. I shot charge shots. Keep in mind, this is like I'm 9 years old playing middle school at my friend's house, but they didn't like fighting that. Like I've always been the player that annoys people when I play games. That's just my style. And so, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it does affect me. Like, I don't like, when people say, oh, I don't want Dabuz to win, his playstyle's lame. I don't, like the hate, whatever, but I'm so used to it. And in Brawl especially, you know how much hate I got for playing Olimar? People legitimately did not like me because I played an annoying character. People legitimately root against me because I played an annoying character. Like, and no one wanted to friendly me because I played an annoying character. Like, Jesus, playing Olimar is actually an awful experience in terms of that. So, Rosalina is like 200 miles up in comparison in terms of the hate I get.
Really? How so?
Just because, like, people actually respect Rosalina sometimes. They're like, oh, Dabuz, I hate your character, but I respect the way you play. Or, like, I only mildly don't like fighting Rosalina. I'd rather fight that than Sheik. Like, in Brawl Olimar is the most hated character in this game. People sometimes give me respect and like the way I play, especially now after Genesis.
That makes sense.
And well, maybe I just have a thicker skin. I'm more used to it. Hard to say.
I mean, you are, in comparison, very similar to HBox in the fact that you are, by a large margin on a national scale, you are the best Rosalina and Luma player, similar to how he is the best Jigglypuff, and people give you guys a lot of crap for playing those characters. So, yeah. I don't know. It's really silly that people do give you crap about playing those characters, because, honestly, they could pick them up themselves, and I think that's the argument. Pick them up yourself and play them, and see if you're as good. So.
Well, it's not even that, though. It's just not... I understand because, if you watch someone and they're not fun to watch, you're not going to like that player or that character. So I can understand, sadly. Like, I'm trying to think of an example, because even I've done this a few times, where I'm just like, I wouldn't say I don't respect a player, but I'm like, I don't like watching them play because it's boring. So that's just natural. Someone could play Rosalina and be like, this character is awful to watch, I never want to see it. But I love playing Rosalina. So it makes sense. Also, I remember the third S for my triple S's, and it was sightseeing.
Yeah. Someone in chat, XL Storm, wants to know, how's the Rosalina versus Cloud matchup?
I mean, I made my matchup list recently, and I was like, oh, Cloud's as bad as Meta Knight. And that might just be overreacting because I just lost a tweak, but I don't know. When I play that matchup, I'm just like, shoot, what do I do? Like, all these scenarios seem so hard. I'm sure I'll figure things out. Character does have bad recovery. I found out something very recently, like, right after fighting Tweak, that I might be able to use against him, so keeping a little bit secret there. So, there's obviously counterplay. I remember when when Ryu first came out, I was like, oh god, Ryu kills me at 60 from up tilt. Sure, you can. This matchup must be like -2, atrocious, Luma dies to everything. So, or like, Pikachu used to be like, oh, Pikachu just destroys Rosa, I can't do this matchup. Or, I'm trying to think of another character that was like that, but I figured it out. Even Meta Knight used to be like, oh, Meta Knight's unwinnable. So, as time goes on, I've generally, along with other Rosalinas, just figured out these matchups that seemed really bad. Heck, Zero Suit. For the longest time, I was like, oh yeah, Zero Suit, borderline unwinnable. That's it. And now I'm like, oh, no, this matchup's not too bad.
Dark in chat also wanted to ask if there was a matchup that was so bad that you just couldn't win ever, who would you back up to in Smash 4?
Right now, I'd probably be going to Bayonetta, because Bayonetta's kind of awesome. You're hitting me, whatever, I got you at 40 with much time, you might be dead. This is a fun character to play as. I can annoy you because I kill you early, I'm super mobile, I just go bang, 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 and then fly around, and, it's a pain in the butt to deal with, and she's fun. So that's definitely my backup character, if anything. And considering the fact that she's really good, potentially top 5, I'm not sure where she is, but, she definitely is up there, so that's the choice. But like I said, mainly just because it's fun to annoy people with her as well, with, running away and then witch timing everything they do.
Nice. The next question is from Kama Smash, and he/she wants to know, what do you think about Wi-Fi Smash? Considering that you are a player that played online quite a lot, do you think you can really improve your gameplay online?
So you can definitely improve your gameplay. So I feel like there's a limit in terms of play on Wi-Fi, because in Brawl I felt this too. I remember Brawl and I play a lot of Wi-Fi, and then before Apex 2013, I was at Vex's house for 4 weekends straight, just playing with Mewtwo King and Salem and Zero for I'm not sure if Zero was there, but regardless, I was playing with top players for months straight offline basically, and then the Apex I got 7th, which was insane, and that's because I went from playing on Wi-Fi to playing offline. I feel like that's a huge thing, is that you can get really good on Wi-Fi, but when you go offline, it's taking off 20 pounds of training material. You don't have to slow down. You feel like you're a Superman. You feel like you just escaped a vat of gelatin that was slowing you down, and it's amazing, and it changes the way you look at the game, maybe even the world. So it definitely is a practice method, but not the best one.
Do you think there's any way of improvement besides just finding a consistent practice partner for players that don't live in regions that they can meet up with someone that's high talent?
So what Dr. Peep used to do, from what I remember? I heard he used to record matches find matches like from Melee years ago, and like he would watch them and analyze them. He would watch his own matches, and then I started doing that too before Genesis. If you checked out my stream, I was for a month straight just watching matches, barely playing. I was just going, this is good. That's good. This is good. This is their habit. This is their thing. Oh, I should use this. I should stop doing this. And like I would just take out all these notes. If you look at like I have a note page that's like probably like 30 pages long in terms of notes. And that's my practice. And I think that is a really exceptional way, actually, because you can take the game and break it down piece by piece by piece.
VOD review. So it's used a lot in other esports, especially League of Legends. But yeah, I think another player that does that a lot is Mewtwo King, if I remember correctly, about his matchups. So the next question is from Shubra, and it is, who is the saltiest player you have ever played against? It's time for the call-outs, Sam.
Oh, the saltiest player I've ever played against. Oh my god, that's actually really, really hard to say. Because I know so many players, but I don't want to just be like, yeah, you're a salty player. Or like, you're the saltiest. Let's see, I'm trying to think of top players. I know, I'm sorry for these shots, DK Will, but DK Will is pretty salty, I've noticed when he loses. I've definitely... Like, you know, he's lost, he's just gone, I can't do anything, this is awful, I can't do anything, blah, blah, blah. And, like, he gets pretty upset when he loses, at least he used to. I've seen him before. Yeah, but I can't really think of many players who get really salty and show it. That's the thing. A lot of players will get salty, but they just won't show it in public. In fact, out of all the players I know, I'm probably the saltiest loser, by far.
They'll just wait until after the match and then go on Twitter and flame you. No big deal.
Oh, no, not that smart. If they're smart, they just go on Twitter and they're like, oh, I lost, whatever, not a big deal, do better next time. Like, you know, they're just, like, not act salty on Twitter because people don't really like that normally. But, you know, I don't want to say, like, too much, but I've definitely heard of players who get really upset. Like, I've definitely heard people throw their controllers before.
Super Duper Smash Bros. In chat would like to know the opposite of this question. Who is your favorite, or who are your favorite players to play against?
Favorite players to play against?
Yes.
Let's see, I'm trying to think. Whenever I fight, surprisingly, when I fight Zero, I actually enjoy the matches, because, like, I can feel the level of play. Like, you know, it's very tangible, like, we're both doing really smart and crazy things and playing super well. So I find matches like that super fun, where both players are obviously playing really well, and just up to par. I also enjoyed fighting Renai a lot at Genesis. Yeah, I think those are my two favorite players to play. I also like fighting actually 6WX a lot, because I feel like whenever we play matches, silly things always happen to both of us. And yeah, those are definitely my favorite players to fight against.
So this past weekend, you played in a tournament in Florida, shots fired, and you got to play against 9B, a Japanese player who actually performed very well at that tournament with Bayonetta. So the next question is from Fernand Death, and wants to know, what was your mindset during your matches against 9B at Shots Fired 2? Do you think Bayonetta is a hard matchup for Rosalina?
Just to correct you, it was actually in New Jersey, not Florida.
Oh, okay, my bad. I was thinking Florida for some reason. Yeah, my bad. All right.
But yeah, anyway, so I was lucky because I was playing Salem, like, that entire day for just not practice against 9B, but just to play the matchup in general. He's fun to play against, too. And so I went to fight 9B, I was like, wow, I just played this matchup for, like, an hour or something and figured out all the stuff. I'm not too worried. And then I fought 9B, I'm just like, oh god, he's just shooting me with his Dutra B, and just, I have to wait for him to make a mistake, or I have to do something really smart. It was honestly one of the most boring matches I've played in a long time, because I knew what I had to do. It just wasn't fun to just be there going, gravity, 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 shoot Luma, side B for 5 damage, side B for another 5 damage, gravity, 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 do a grab, wait for my grab opening. But, you know, play to win, patience, making some reads. I got a few clutch reads on his movement. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to up smash here. And it worked most of the time I did that. So, yeah, I think the matchup is even. Definitely, Bayonetta does stupid things to Rosa, But then Rosa's neutral plus grab game kind of helps a lot because Bayonetta hates dealing with good grab characters. Because, she... Because... Well, she is not unsafe from the shield, but she doesn't have a good grab game herself, so she's forced to either go for risky grabs, which aren't very rewarding, or hit your shield. And if you can grab her out of that, it's pretty nice. And you know which time doesn't counter grabs. And so having a good grab game is super important against her. That's why I think the matchup's even.
If I remember correctly, there's another moment that I got to witness, and excuse me if I'm incorrect, but it's been a long week at esports. The almost timeout by Mr. R, where you took him off the top. What was that like?
So, first of all, a little bit of Smash 4 knowledge. If you kill someone off the top, and there is less than 10 seconds left, I believe, I forget if it's 10 or 5, they die immediately. They don't go into like a blast something, background thing, they just immediately die. So, I was, in that situation, it was like 1 second left, I was like, you know what, all or nothing, let's do it, jump off. I baited him out, but make it look like I was going to back air him, knowing he'd have to go either low or high. And I just took the right guess there. And then when I won that, I knew that Chow was going to be salty. He's at like, 80? Well, I was 140 rage. I was just like, you know what? I was excited there, but I went for a super exaggerated pop-off because I thought it would be hilarious in that situation. Because I was so stupid. I'm not even I thought that was stupid. Less than a second left. Dead because I did a 1 out of 3 chance to up air him at the right time. When he probably could have just bouncing fished away a bit farther too. Actually, I could have got that. But
I feel like if he lost that best of series, he would have never heard. He'll never hear the end of it. So. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not here end of it for popping off mid set and losing. Let me just a bit pop off because I want to be funny and then lose. Oh, well then, this pop off looks very silly now.
I was waiting for someone. I think they zoomed in manually, but I was waiting for someone to do the thing. If you've ever seen that ESAM clip where they zoom in and his face is just he's just smiling after he kills someone. I was waiting for them to do that for Mr. R because he kind of just was like, oh god.
He just looked upset.
Yeah, he was beyond upset.
Yeah. No, Mr. R, you can see in his facial expressions how he's feeling. He's very emotional, not with his body, but just with his face.
So the next question is I'm kind of a funny guy. Wonderful name. Which player do you like the most to team up?
So I don't really like doubles normally. In fact, I've hated doubles for a long time, but so far, now I've started teaming up with Hyuga. I found it really fun to team with him. He's probably the first partner I've teamed with and just gone, yes, I want to play doubles now. What is this sorcery? So definitely him. I'm going to have to make sure, though, from now on to, remind him to wake up in time for doubles tournaments, because he overslept for shots fired doubles. But, yeah, he's definitely the most fun person to team with so far.
What is the big difference for you from playing singles and doubles, stylistically?
Mainly I don't have enough stage. So, in singles, I control a lot of the stage, I move around a lot. I use that stage to my advantage. In doubles, now you have 4 people on the stage. It's just chaos, insanity. You can't space as much. You can't run around as much. You just don't have as much to do because it's so much more compact. And as someone who played, Olimar and then Rosalina, who are characters that kind of want that space, it's really not fun. Knowing that sort of match happens and Luma is not under fire from one person, but from 3 people now that can kill him. Shit. I had enough trouble keeping Luma alive as it is. Don't make it 3 times as hard for me, please. Sometimes I'll blame my partner for this. But even in doubles, partners might want to kill Luma because it's so hard not to. Luma's
she's
just
in the
there,
way.
and you just throw an attack at, and then Luma dies. You just go, well, I'm useless now for 13 seconds. Half on 2v1ing.
Would you ever consider using a different character in doubles for a better advantage?
I used to use Olimar in doubles for that. Yep. So yeah. Never know if I just decide I want to actually pick up Cloud because Cloud's too good at doubles, you never know. Maybe I could do that. Cloud is the meta, and it's pretty easy to play, so I can see it.
The next question is from Jaco421, and kind of talked about this earlier, but sure, we'll go back to it. What's your dream sponsor, and what's keeping you from being sponsored by them?
I know this is before. I think, dream sponsor. I know I mentioned these sponsors before because they're both like pretty much up there. Is both EG and Cloud9 because Cloud9 is cool because like first I have Mango. Mango's an awesome player to watch in Melee, and then I do watch a little bit of like League of Legends and stuff. I'm just like, oh, this is cool to watch. Like I like seeing the players in Cloud9 play in those games. And then for EG, it'd be cool for me because I grew up mostly playing like fighting games, not just Smash Brothers, but like Street Fighter as well. And I recognize a lot of the names in their FGC department, like Justin Wong, Ricky Ortiz, and it'd be so cool to be on the team with those players. And that's why those two are my dream sponsors because I recognize the players and the teams, and like, that's awesome. Being on a team with a player who you look at or just like, yo, I want to be like them or be better than them. I want to like live off esports and stuff and be great in my game.
Yeah, fair. The next question is from Not a Luigi Main. And we already talked about this one as well a little bit earlier. Will you play a secondary for Rosalina's bad matchups, such as ZSS and MK, or stay Rosalina all the time? And then, do you want to be the best?
Damn, that's like a trick question. Like, are you going to stay your main and not go counter picking, or do you want to be a best? That's like a really funny way to put it. I mean, I'm training up a Bayonetta right now. I used to use Olimar when, Diddy Kong was not winnable. And, I've always thought, just if you can't win with your character, or if it's too hard, pick up a counter pick. I've told people many times, hey, look, your character, not good enough. Nope, pick up someone else. You're wasting your time. And so, yeah, I think that same way. I like Rosalina the most, and I'm going to try to keep her my main, but if I find, like, say, within a year from now that Rosalina can't win, secondary, I just counter pick. Easy peasy. Because I like to be the best. That's the goal.
I think, if I remember last week, our guest was saying that M2K is one of those people that just picks whatever the hell works against you. Like, would you ever be that player? Like, just sacrifice whatever you play to pick whatever works against your opponent?
If I could, yeah. Like, cause, how's a good way to phrase it? A lot of people will be like, oh, but Dabuz character pride, blah, 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 blah. And then my response would be, I could have character pride, or I could get farther in the tournament, which gives me more pride. So, yeah, there's honestly a no-brainer if you want to be like competitive to pick the best tool for the situation.
Would we ever see a Dabuz Sheik?
No, because just because Sheik is the best character doesn't make her the best secondary. So, Sheik is a weird character in terms of, in a lot of Smash games, you can, I don't want to say you can secondary pocket characters and be like amazing with them, but Sheik especially in this game, because so many characters like kill you so easily. If you make a mistake with her, you die, but you have to like play very perfect to make her like as usable as she is. And so she's not really a good character to pocket because she has such a high skill ceiling, a low skill floor, and just is susceptible to jank. Whereas, most of the top tiers you can kind of like pick up and play like Cloud or like Mario, just pick up, learn some things, you're pretty good to go.
The next question is from Block Mage, and he says, what's your opinion on technical low tiers?
I guess just like technical low tier. I'm assuming it means something like, Rob, not going to call Robin a low tier, but I'll use him as the example. Like, if you enjoy a character and you care more about having fun than winning, play whatever character you want. If your favorite character is the worst character in the game, but you have a blast playing them, then just do that. But, in terms of, like, playing them seriously, I wouldn't do it, because when we say low tier, I say, nope, 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 goodbye, out of there, out the window, out the garbage can, not relevant, done. I want something that says at least high tier on it.
And one more thing that, I saw a discussion about from some of the top players the other day. I believe Ally and Anti were both talking about this. Do you think there's characters that, like, even though they're, like, A tier, such as Mario, like, can't win a national against players that play Rosa and ZSS and Sheik and Albea, I guess?
I wouldn't say can't, but it's harder. It's like, if your character is A tier, at least in this current meta, that essentially is saying this character can win a national. Not that they will. And a character like, Mario will have a harder time than, say, Sheik, because he's more likely to run into a bad matchup, like Rosalina or Sheik. But it's definitely winnable. But, so if the character can't win a national, you can't really put him on par with characters that can win nationals.
Right.
Like, Pikachu, for example, is definitely really good. He can definitely win a national, but if he can win a national and Mario can't, then, something's wrong there. They shouldn't be close to each other on the tier list.
Do you think it's too young of a game to like really say that kind of statement? Because they both were saying that Mario can't do this. Do you think it's too young of a game to say that, like that there is a character that can't take it?
There's many characters that can't. I think it's too young of a game to start counting out the characters that we know are really good.
Right.
Like Mario, maybe he can't take a national. Maybe he does have his weaknesses that are a little bit too much. But he's a really good character. We know he's got to be top 14. So I wouldn't be like, oh, he can't win this national quite yet. The worst characters that we know aren't that great. Like, let's say a good example. Like we know Falcon probably can't win a national. He's good, just not good enough. So you definitely can limit it to just the best characters for right now. And as the game evolves, a lot of times as games evolve, less and less characters become viable for the simple reason that better characters get more optimized. Like, a year from now, we'll probably see instead of 14 characters who are top tier can win a national, maybe Mario won't be up there anymore. Maybe we'll consider him not worthy. Maybe we'll think Diddy Kong isn't worthy, As time goes on, we'll probably just see a slowly limiting pool until we get to a point where our meta is kind of established and we know which characters can win and can't win. And there isn't very much that's going to change about that.
Okay, I'm going to have one more AMA question because I see chat wanting to ask a lot of stuff. One more AMA question, and then we can switch to Twitch chat questions for the last little bit of the show. So, the last AMA question is, I don't see any Rosa and Luma other than you make it top 8 at Nationals, with 1 or 2 exceptions. What do you think separates you from the other Rosalina and Luma mains?
Mainly just a lot of effort. Like I said, game first came out, I spent hours just labbing Luma nonsense. Most of it not even being that useful, to be honest, nowadays. But, I've still, now and then, sometimes it'd be 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd be like, I can't sleep. Let's go practice stuff for 2 hours and see what I can find out. And that's really, I think, what differentiates it is I'm always trying to lab things out. I'm always studying. I'm not just playing the game and, going, I'm just going to play this game for 5 hours. I'm playing a game with a reason, with something I'm looking for. And then also, I'm the only Brawl vet that came into Smash 4 and went for Rosalina. Everyone else went to a different character, so I have all those years of experience behind me from Brawl and other fighting games and from, All-Stars, So, all that experience combined gave me a huge, head up on anyone else playing Rosalina because no one else that plays her has nearly as much experience at a top level as me.
Okay, now for the chat questions. One that's been in chat the entire time is, how is your Mika training going?
How's my Mika training go? Not gonna lie, I'm having a little bit of trouble. Street Fighter is pretty hard to play. I've been trying to work on it though. I finally last night went from being just a lowly bronze to staying within super bronze. Yeah, I'm in bronze, but now it's extra special bronze. So that's some progress. I'm starting to figure things out. I was watching Fudo last night actually. I watched him play. I was like, oh, this is what Fudo does. We just copy this down and take and use it for myself. So that's working. It's fun. I don't see myself becoming the best in the world at Street Fighter. I can't play for hours and I kind of get bored with it after a few hours, but for what it is, it's cool. I'm going to try to get to silver within a month. That is the goal.
Nice. Two more questions. Somebody said 2 stock or 3 stock?
2 stock. No, just 2 stock. I don't even have an explanation for it.
Is it a time thing or just a preference thing?
Mainly because, so even if 3 stock gives you much more accurate results, sometimes it's just too long. Okay, so put it this way. Me versus Nabi was a 24-minute set. Me versus Abaddon with Apex from a year ago was 30-minute set. Now imagine if both those matches, both those sets had 1 more stock. Imagine if those best of 5 sets, now instead of being probably 12 stocks taken total, something like that, was now 16 stocks taken total. That could be easily a 35 or 40-minute set. No one wants to sit down and watch that. I don't care. No one wants to sit down and watch 9B just shoot bullets, Y gravity pull, and then jab every now and then, grab every now and then for almost an hour. And no one wants to play that either. So that's the sad truth of it. As much as 3 stock is good for most sets, a few of them ruin it.
So I'm gonna give you a question from chat, but I also did have a little bit of background research from reading an interview from the wonderful guys at Slingshot Esports. You should definitely check out their site if you have not. They interviewed Zero and asked him, and Chad is now asking you, who are your 5 gods of Smash 4? Zero's answer to this was himself, Nairo, you, Renai, and then himself again. And he would also put Anti up there. Who are the 5 for you right now?
Remove Anti, I'll just leave it as 4 right now. Because, yeah, I'm not going to force a 5th god if there isn't a 5th god. Even then, like, putting me and Renai almost feels, like, hard to say because, like, obviously it goes Zero, then Nairo, and those, like, 2 of the most consistent players. And then me and Renai are the next most consistent, but we still lose sometimes to people that we don't think we should, other people don't think we should. And, you know, like, the gods of Melee, they don't lose to people they shouldn't, as far as I know. Like, when's the last time I've heard of Armada losing to, you know, say West Balls? Sorry for the shots, but like, you know what I mean? Like, the gods of Melee don't lose to people they shouldn't. Where in Smash 4, only person that really doesn't lose to people they shouldn't is Zero. Game's still a bit young.
How long do you think? Just random guess. How long do you think it would take for an upper echelon to really be developed, where there's like a consistent top, like 5 or top 4?
I think it's going to come down more to not actually the top echelon players, like, getting much better than everyone else. I think it comes down to the players that aren't top level getting lazy and not want to be better than everyone else. Like let's just say, you know, Nairo and I, Zero, and myself are, like, still, like, putting an effort and, like, practicing all the time, and then, like, say everyone else just says, I'm bored of Smash 4, I won't play as much. Then you'll probably see that huge divide. But right now, to me, people just want that W. They all want to be the best, and, you know, competition just breeds more competition, and I really don't see anything like any imbalance happening like that until the community as a whole just says, I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore, I can't win.
Awesome. So do you have any last shout-outs, fans, potential sponsors, anything you would like to say?
Shout-outs, fans, potential sponsors? I guess just hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Let me know what you thought of the interview. And that's it. I really don't have, like... I'm always bad at closing these things because I don't know what to say. Do I just say goodbye? Do I, like, say a huge message? So I just say goodbye. Leave it simple and nice. You know, you guys have a good night. I'm actually going to start streaming, though, within, like, 15 to 20 minutes. So if you have any other questions you want to ask me there that we can get to, you can do that. I'm just going to practice them, though, while I'm streaming.
Awesome. And if you want to say anything to Dabuz, his @ is @_DabuzSensei. So it was on screen most of this interview, so make sure to send him questions your way and to give him a follow, because he's been a great guest. Thank you for being on, sir. It's been a pleasure. So if you enjoy the content, you can subscribe to us on Twitch now and get our wonderful shit hitting the fan and garbage fire emotes. You can also follow, and if you do not want to pay, you can follow to be able to get notifications when we are live. We are live 4 days of the week: Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, with various different esports and video game shows. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/daily.esports. You can you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/.esports, and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/.esports. I've been Jacob Wolf, and we are going off.